So good morning once again to everybody who is now participating in our first discussion panel of the 6th conference Fascinations at Ji.hlava Documentary Film Festival. At the beginning, please let me tell you a technical note for the audience and the attendees. This program is being streamed live and it is also being recorded. Afterwards, it will be also published. It will be available for public. So during the discussion panel, you can of course participate with your questions. It's really important that we would like to create the environment where you can participate in the discussions and you can ask your questions, but please be kindly aware that by asking the question you are becoming part of the public and recorded session. So one more technical note at the beginning for the attendees that are here, and I see they are from all over the world, from different countries. That is really great. Welcome here. And if any time during the discussion you have a question, please just use the function raise hand. Then I will see that you are raising your hand so that you want to speak, and then I will unmute you. I will allow you to talk and you can tell your question, or you can also participate in the discussion by telling a commentary or sharing your own experience concerning the questions we will be discussing with our dearest speakers now. Let me welcome here Edith van der Heijde, the distributor from iExperimental from Netherlands. Hello, Edith. Thank you for being with us. Then we have here Mariya Nikiforova, the film collection manager from the distribution company LightCone from France. Hello, Mariya. And we have here Malgorzata Sady from Poland, who is a curator, artist herself, and lecturer. And she represents more institutions, but especially In Situ Foundation of Contemporary Art, which is also organizer of a Contexti festival. And the topic of this discussion panel is focused on distributing and presenting experimental films and moving images in the virtual space online. Although it now seems so very current and actual in these times, we were thinking about this topic even before the pandemic, because it's something that all the institutions have to consider and think about how to penetrate into this virtual space and how to find a proper and visible place also for experimental films in this virtual environment, because of course that it's very similar as with many tendencies in cinema, that first the dominant part of cinematography, which is mostly the fiction films, that they start to be very fastly visible in the virtual space. We can have them online on tens and tens of platforms. Fortunately, documentary films are not behind fiction films, and even one of the curated platforms for documentary and also experimental films was established in the year 2006. It was called Doc Air in that time, and afterwards it transformed, and now it is known as Doc Alliance Films, DA Films, which is one of the partners of the festival, and also the audience from abroad can watch the films from Ji.hlava Festival program on this platform, dafilms.com. So documentary film, it's not behind the fiction film, but experimental film, it would be really great if it is the equal part of this environment of digital distribution and online distribution. So this is one of the topics we will speak about today and tomorrow. So first of all, Edith, Mariya, Malgorzata, I would like to ask you, if your organization or the institution, one of the institutions you work for, have an online video library, own online video library, and if yes, how does it work and what is its main purpose? Edith, could you start?
So yes, as iFilm Museum is not only an archive, it's also a cinema and exhibition space. We have a rather elaborate archive collection of over 50,000 films. So to make the collection accessible to both curators inside of I, but also programmers and external parties, we created a database called Collection I, and this database allows searching the collection, but also for curators from I to provide preview links to share with external curators or programmers or anybody who's interested in researching the collection. So in that case, it's both a database as well as a video library for the purpose of opening up the collection. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
That's really great. So as I understand it, it primarily serves as a tool for curators, for professionals, for researchers. It's not primarily aimed on broad public, but on the professionals and researchers. Is it right?
That is correct, yeah. As for the broad public, we are at the moment developing a VOD platform to also provide the broad public access to our collection and to classic films we have in distribution, experimental films, silent films. So this platform is yet in development, and there's a beta version already online at the moment. It's called the iFilm Player. And what's interesting, I think, as well, is that it both provides films from our archive where you have to pay a small fee to see them for a limited period of time, but there's also a lot of content on there that's freely accessible, which I think is also the purpose of I as a film institute to also make a low threshold for the broad audience to access the collection, both silent, recent films, but also experimental works. And I think there's also plans to curate programs of short films on there as well, to also highlight certain works and contextualize them.
Oh, that's really fantastic what we are talking about. So we will elaborate on then more through the discussion. Thank you, perfect. And I will just add one technical note for the speakers. If you want to speak and add something, and somebody else is speaking, please just raise your hand. I can see you, so I will give you the word then. So now I will ask the same question to Mariya. Do you have, does LightCone has its own online video library?
Yes, in a way, because as well as a distributor, we have our catalog online, so all the films are searchable. And on many of the films, I think it's about 1,500, we have preview videos embedded in the website, with the agreement of the filmmakers, of course, in the interest of sharing the films with programmers. But also, I mean, they're available to the general public. In quite low quality. I mean, they're small videos with a watermark. I mean, we don't want that to replace in any way like a real projection. And actually, during the lockdown in France, which started in March, we started kind of playing with that on our social networks. So we would share a film a day from this online collection. And then we've kind of moved on to making mini programs. So we kind of put like 2 or 3 films together. Sometimes we'll write to the filmmaker and say, will you agree that we put this film online because we want to share it? And they usually say yes. So it's a way also, well, for us to know better our own catalog, but also like to find films that are maybe a little bit forgotten. And so we kind of pull them out this way. And then we also do have private links to many films that filmmakers share with us, which we share on request with programmers. So.
I see. That's great. I'm personally, as a curator, very thankful that you have this video library and where you have online previews of the films. But it's really great that you also started this initiative that you made public some of the films. That's really great to hear. Thank you. And Malgorzata? How about you, and how about the institutions you work with?
Hello, everybody. I was actually wondering whether I should take part in this discussion, but not for artistic reasons, but political reasons, because all women in Poland are on strike today because of this horrid anti-abortion law, and that's altogether the politics of our government. But since I consider it like conversation for pleasure, I'm excused and I'm happy to join you. I work with various institutions. You mentioned Context. The Context hasn't really got this festival of ephemeral art because of the nature of the festival, hasn't got a video library. But I also work at the Polish Japanese Academy of Information Technology, which is based in Warsaw. And this is an international school, which the department I work for is New Media Department, and we've got film department there. And this school is interesting in many ways. One of vital elements of the school is international contacts and also international workshops. So every 1 week of every month, we've got international workshop and also conferences, and everything is streamed live, or it's also presented on websites. With each conference, each seminar has got its own website, so you can actually have access to all the material there. And it's on the website of, which is a part of school website, but it's also available on YouTube, on social media, Facebook, Twitter. We've got virtual galleries for exhibitions, so that's how it works.
I see. Thank you. That was an interesting experience from a different kind of institution that we haven't spoken about until now, and that's a school, and how the education and also in this area of experimental film can be handled during the times when we could have only remote schooling. So thank you very much for these remarks. Now I will just remind the attendees that anybody of you from the public who are part of this, not of you who are watching us on YouTube stream, but you who are attendees of this webinar, who are on Zoom with us, you can have your own questions or your own remarks or comments that you would like to say. It's enough that you raise your hand, and if I see that you raised your hand, I will give you word and I will allow you to talk. I will unmute you. So please, anytime during the discussion, you can raise your hand. Okay, now please, Edith and Mariya, let us be more specific from the curatorial point of view. I know, Edith, that, or the question has two parts. First of all, the online video library, which is this tool for professionals or researchers. Can you, do you have an estimation how many works out of your collection is available in this online environment? And this is the first question. And the second question is about the VOD platform that is still in development, but still I guess that you already have some concept of its content, and I guess that it will be curated platform. So you will carefully select the works that will be available online for public. So what is the approach there? What is the key to the selection? What kind of works will you select to make available for the public? Edith?
Well, with regards to the collection database, I must say, I have absolutely no idea how much is already available. I think it's quite a large scoop of the collection, but it's also, of course, completely dependent on what works can be digitized and can be made available, and in what quality they can be digitized. If there's budget available to digitize, and also there's on the one hand you have the collection archive, but on the other hand you're also getting new recent works added to the collection, because every work that has been made with funding from the Dutch Film Fund will be automatically included in the database as well. And that is also, of course, 99% digital material. So it's also very fluctuating what is available. It becomes more and more. So to give you a number, I can't really say.
It's so interesting what you are saying. It's not necessary to say any particular numbers. I was more interested in the way how were you deciding which works you will make available for the film professionals this way, and now you explained how you were thinking about it. That there are certain films that even can be digitized. And an interesting point is that the role of the public funding. So did I understand well that once the film was funded from the public, from some public institution, public grant, public money, then you have an obligation to make it digital, and then you make it a part of this catalog online?
Not necessarily to make it digital, but to deliver it to the archive, to make it available in the archive as well. That's the obligation. To get the funding, you have to give the final product, make the final product available in the archive as well. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean also that the digital material is available for external parties as well. That's also on the rights holders, of course. And I think you also asked about the curatorial aspect of the VOD platform we're working on. What makes films, the curatorial aspect, it mostly depends on the availability of material, of course, and also the willingness of the rights holder to make it available and to make it available for a fee or make it available for free, and also if you can contextualize the film on the website, if it's if public would be interested in viewing these films, if it would contribute to making the collection accessible.
What does it mean, or what is your view on how to contextualize the works? You mean that, for example, you prefer to make public several works by one author, or several works from certain period to have some comparison or some context of certain era, or what does it mean exactly?
Well, I think I must say also I'm not as a curator part of this of curating for the platform. My colleagues at the curatorial department are, so I'm merely speaking for them in this context. But I think with regards to the, for instance, experimental film, there are several ways to contextualize this. But one of the ways I think is interesting is this is a very specific example. The Filmliga, which used to be a film club in the Netherlands in the 1920s, 1930s, who programmed avant-garde film. So a way to contextualize the films that were programmed in their film evenings and the way they thought about it, I think is a very interesting way to make it accessible and to provide a context to kind of recreate the screening environment of that period.
Oh, yes, that's a brilliant example. Yes, I understand completely. Thank you. And Mariya, when you were when LightCone is thinking about what films should be part of this online catalog, that is especially for the curators and film professionals or researchers, how did you select which of the films will be digitized, or which of these films will be available as the previews, and in this catalog? Was there a certain certain clear set of rules and keys how to select these films?
Well, actually, we work directly with the filmmakers and rights holders, and we try to encourage everyone to share at least an excerpt, or if they want a film in full, on our website, and to make it more available to programmers. So in those terms, there's no selection or preference. We also don't, in general, don't digitize films, if it's not coming from the filmmaker or rights holder himself or herself. We wouldn't put a film online if we didn't have that agreement, so. Yeah, just in terms of those little selections that we made from that I told you about on social networks, I mean, that was kind of, our own curatorial, desires. So, that was, some of our personal favorite films or ones that we had discovered, etc. So it was a little bit random. Yeah.
I see. And when you made some of these films, you said one film a day during the spring part of the lockdown. Did it have audience? Did you see that people were interested to see also experimental films online?
Yeah, I mean, we had a very good response. I mean, in general, actually, another little project we do is kind of putting a focus on one filmmaker. I mean, this is something we started not a long time ago, but it's, yeah, if the films are already available on our site, and we contact the filmmaker, we kind of write a little text, we put some photos. Maybe this is someone that has just come into our catalog, but that has a big filmography, so it's kind of, to put like a focus. And so there are usually lots of images and a little bit of information. So I think people react really well to that. I mean, I don't know if they actually go and watch everything, but they react well to they put, shares and likes and et cetera, et cetera. So.
Perfect. That's really, really perfect, because the response of the audience is also so important in this thinking of what we should make public in this era, when such a big ratio of all the audiovisual content is being available on online. So I personally think that it's very, very important to curate, to select the films according to certain criteria, to certain keys, to help the audience to orientate in this huge amount of content. Yeah, that is also why we are discussing this topic. Thank you, Malgorzata. I will ask you. You are a curator in the Institute Foundation, in Polna 44 Institute, but also for Kontexty Festival. So you are one of those people who definitely, or I guess, who welcomes the possibility to see online previews or to use the online catalogs of the distribution companies or of the archives. Could you share with us your experience if you use these video libraries as a resource for your search for films that you should present, or if you maybe use it also as a teacher, as mapping of, for example, body of work of certain filmmaker, etc. So to put it simply, are these online platforms either the closed catalogs, video libraries of the distributors, or the public online platforms a useful and really used source for you?
Yes, they are extremely useful. And the way I work is, on one hand, these are personal contacts with filmmakers. Having acquired a certain knowledge over the years and certain contacts. So it's going directly to these people, which also makes it easier when it is organized, how with all these formalities, and also negotiating the fees, the money going straight to the filmmakers, which is our preferred way. So that's one way. Another way is I've had established contacts over the years with several distribution companies, so hence having access to their catalogs. One of them is Lux, which is based in London, which is, I think, the most interesting international library for artistic films. So it's them. Another contact is Louisiana Channel. I think they produce wonderful films which are related to the program of the museum, Louisiana Museum, and that deals not only with visual arts and film, but also with architecture, with literature and design. So you have the wide range of subjects, which is actually related to the structure of Context Festival, which happens in different areas. It's just one uniting factor is ephemeral character and experimental edge to what happens. Another one, which I consider extremely wonderful platform, is Ubu. Ubu, that's based on the ideas which I'm completely, my heart is there, my mind is there, being very democratic, and the resources available are immense. So, and I'm full of respect, appreciation. That's basically it. And yeah, I would say so. And plus, there is also access to Polish distribution companies at Polish film archives, and also the film studios I work directly with. So that's another platform.
That's perfect. Please let me also for the public to summarize these 3 resources that you named, because it's really interesting to hear it from the curator who use these sources. So I already shared the website of UBU, and now I will share the screen of Louisiana channel. Please tell me if it is right, if it is this organization, this
yes,
that page. Is it right? Yes.
And that's wonderful. If you don't know it, it's highly recommended.
Perfect. And please, can you repeat once more the
LUX, LUX.
X. Ah, yes, of course, of course. Lux. Sorry, I was just lost in the pronunciation. Yeah. Lux is a distribution company based in London, and it was part of conference Fascinations many times in the past, and definitely will be in the future again. It's as an institution, it's quite. Similar to LightCone, it's a distribution of experimental films, and I will again, just for information, share the homepage of their website. It's lux.org.uk.
And that's what's wonderful about it, that it was set up in the late 60s by the artists as a London filmmakers cooperative, and then it was taken over by Lux with the same principle, the same ideas. So
exactly, this is really that was the end of 60s and beginning of 70s was really an important era in the distribution and spreading of experimental films, and many of the distribution companies were set or established in this period, and especially as co-ops of the authors themselves. It's also the case of LightCone. It's also the case of Canadian Filmmakers Distribution Center, of V-Tape, of Lux, of really more of these experimental distribution companies. They had very similar model, and they grew out of a very similar environment and ideas in this area. Thank you for reminding us of this, Malgorzata. Now I will again address the attendees of this webinar. We have the last 7 minutes of the discussion. You who are watching us on a YouTube stream, you cannot participate, but you who are attendees of the webinar here in Zoom, you can have a question or remark or comment if you want. Just please use the function raise hand and raise your hand anytime. Now I would like to ask you, dear colleagues, if you, first of all, you, the 2 distributors, iExperimental and LightCone, do you also use other VOD platforms to distribute the films that you represent? And do these platforms address you with asking for the license to put some film from your collection to the collection of the VOD platform? Edith?
Yes, they do request films from our collection or from the catalog. But unfortunately, we mostly don't hold any online rights to distribute the films. So in those cases, I refer them to the filmmakers themselves to discuss this with the platform further. And in some cases, this has led to the publication of the films, or in other cases, it doesn't. And also for some filmmakers, the screening of the film, the experience in a cinema, the materiality that can be experienced in a cinema on the big screen is really important for them to. So an online environment wouldn't work for them. So there's many different constellations that happen with these online platforms.
Thank you for mentioning this. This is really something that I myself also observe. That let me tell you one older experience. When the Docker VOD platform started, it was solely for documentary films. And it wanted to make these documentary films available. So it was negotiating with the rights holders to put the films online. And many producers were very hesitant in those times, 2006, 7, 8. And their concerns were especially about the piracy, that the film will be made available online, somebody will download it and then spread it illegally, which is of course a great concern for fiction film VOD portals as well, and the security policies are very strict, and technical solutions for these are very, very sophisticated, and so on. But concerning right holders or authors of experimental films, I much more often met with the attitude that, yeah, I could think about giving my film available online to this platform or that platform, or maybe on more platforms, but I really want my film to be screened on big screen. And that's my concern. So I have very similar experience as you mentioned, that this is a very common concern of experimental filmmakers. Yes, Edith.
Yeah, and especially in these times, of course, when festivals are more often than not also asking or only asking to screen the films online, as they are forced into the current situation. Of course, filmmakers are also forced to think about if this is what they want, and because it's the only option for them at that time. Yeah, sometimes really those concessions are made, and I understand, of course, this difficult decisions they have to make regarding the screening environment of their film.
Yeah, exactly. And what is your experience, Mariya? Do some VOD platforms address LightCone and ask if some of your films can be available online for them?
I think my answer would be very similar to that of Edith. That perhaps it's something that takes place between the filmmaker and the platform directly. If that's the case, in any case, we haven't had so much experience with that. Yeah. But one thing I can add is just that when we did organize an online screening event, because it was something that we had already planned in person, and it's like the previous show, which is meant for programmers to come and watch films. We used the Vimeo platform, which was very nice actually for sharing films. But it's just new territory for us as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. But I think that for many companies, it's like the first step of adapting on this environment to use a Vimeo channel and present films there, and then have some feedback and then thinking about some other or more advanced possibilities or how to present the films online. And it's so interesting to observe the process in which we are now all together. Thank you, Mariya. And Malgorzata, at the very end of this discussion, I would like to ask you, symbolically, as we are at the festival, about the Contexty Festival. You mentioned that the Contexty Festival was also I'm not sure if partly or completely online. So if you can describe your experience and also your personal feedback of this experience, meaning what kind of content you think that is that can be communicated online without problems, and where do you think that it is problematic? In which parts of the festival program it's still really like not ideal or maybe not possible at all? Malgorzata?
So this festival was in a hybrid version. First of all, the artists from abroad couldn't travel to Poland, so they were eliminated. So I asked everybody to provide us with videos of a certain format, like a documentation of their work. If you are talking about live art, ephemeral art, performances, music, it's just our intervention in public space. It can't be really, what's most important is direct experience. So now you are watching like another layer of what was possible to experience. So we had a number of live events, but these live events couldn't be really streamed directly. So what we did, we had like 4 TV channels. One channel was documentation that was sent by an artist, and we added some introduction to it, and that was screened for several times. It was available on Facebook, YouTube, all these platforms. And then we also recorded what was happening live and then put it afterwards on that channel. So there was audience, very limited audience in Sokołowska who could experience the live events, and everybody could see it then on the screens. Obviously, it wasn't the same experience. It was the easiest part were films, because you watch films after all on the screen. And if somebody has good equipment, it's different if you watch it on smartphone, small scale. But if you have a good equipment at home, that was similar experience. And because we always show films that are not easily available, like we were showing, let's say, Parajanov Striptease, which is very unique. We were showing also Emma Kugler's films. We were showing Andrea Zimmerman films. So these are the films that you can't really see. So that went well in a sense. We also had streaming of what was happening in the street, so you could feel the atmosphere of that little village. We had also direct streaming of some installation. For example, we had installation that was a little house placed on a mirror, and what the audience was seeing was the image of the sky and the mirror, and this. So that was kind of experience that you would have similar in Sokołowska, but altogether it was really disappointing. It wasn't the same, but alas, we are facing the circumstances, and that's what all we can do. So we are trying to find a middle way, however disappointing it is, but we need to survive somehow.
Sure. It's so thank you for sharing this experience. And before I wrap it up, I'd like to again ask if some of the attendees maybe have a question or remark or comment. No raised hands. So concerning all what you have shared with us today, it really, I think that it really confirms that in these times with these limitations, and probably we will live in this kind of era for at least several other months, and probably something of it will some of these experience that we now gain will be used and developed more also after this pandemic crisis finish. I think that what is really important is that the institutions collaborate and are becoming even closer to each other in this pursuit of creating like a high quality and high quality virtual environment for experimental films that can also provide the audience with an orientation in this really huge area of cinema. So also the curatorial aspect is very, very important, as Edith was talking about contextualizing films. And as Edith and Mariya were talking about the thought processes of the authors who are hesitating if they should put and which kind of works to the online and which are really not possible to convey in this way, which was confirmed by Malgorzata. Yes, something is transferable to the virtual space, but something really not, because an important part of the experience would be missing. So I think that it's even more important in these times that curators and festivals and galleries and distribution companies and archives work really in close proximity to create a high quality environment for experimental films and the ways how to communicate them to public. So thank you very, very much for participating in this discussion. I would like to also ask you, if you have time, please join us as attendees also in the following 2 discussion panels, because it's always very useful when also not only the main speakers, but also the other participants can contribute with their experience and their opinions to this. We have a second discussion panel at 2 p.m. today and the third one tomorrow at 8 a.m. So thank you for your attention and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. It was a nice talk.
Thank you all. Nice to meet you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And hope to see you soon in Ji.hlava, hopefully next year.
In person.
So take care and stay safe.
And you too, and look after yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.